And the last hurricane, Miss Florence, when her blinker got stuck, and she decided to stay in the area and dump 36 inches of water. Water didn't get in the house from the river. Water blew in through the boards on the sides. The house was built here, right on these footings, in the 1760s. It is one of, if not the oldest, home in Bladen County still sitting on its original foundation. Very significant. We, in the 80s, the Historical Society decided to put the energy in it. Miss Myrtle Livingston, Miss Wanda Campbell, Mr. Chatham Clark, those names from years past had spent a lot of energy trying to get history noticed and people's eyes fixed on it. And so they pushed 1972, the house got put on the historical register. And then we were able to apply for grants, and the Historical Society back then did grants to get things. They got a $50,000 grant through historical entities with the state. There's Terry, good, Smith, and were able to furnish it. They brought it from, it had been a pack house on the back of the farm for 75 years to open it and furnish it for people to see. When they did, they put in pink insulation and gypsum drywall. That's what we've had to take out because Miss Florence's rain got a little damp. In the 80s, they had to rebuild the porch. The porch was non-existent anymore. This house was built initially with exterior stairs. So this addition is the stairs. In the day, they didn't put stairs inside because it wasted your square footage. And tax bills were very valuable. So they put it on the outside. In the 80s, they reconstructed this chimney. The old chimney had pretty much caved and gone. Hey, Terry. And so this one was built in the 80s. Historic Preservation Office cringes every time they come down here because they look at the new brick and the modern pointing and say, ugh, ugh, not period correct. And we go, ugh, we can't help it.
Yeah.
We didn't do it. So we have to come in on the exterior, replace some of our rot. This isn't rot, this is algae. It needs a good scraping, it needs a good repainting, and to get the vines out of it. But that's where we are on the exterior. That board will have to come out. We are sitting on $115,000 from the National Park Service for hurricane recovery for historic properties. It is now beginning, we're in the short rows of seeing that released, but it is only for this house and to button up the exterior. It is very, very strict what we can use it for. Since we applied for it, and the application was submitted August of 2019, I believe it was. Since then, we have not been able to do anything to the house because the grant specified no activity could be done to repair anything until everything is finalized and the dots are signed and everything. So we have been in, this is the mantle that was original to the home. So we want to be able to restore this to finished walls and let folks back in here. It's pretty cool to be able to. one of our plans with putting the walls back in is that probably downstairs we'll do it, but at somewhere on the wall, we want to do a plexi section to let folks see these wonderful old walls, old boards. You can stand and look at the especially the ceiling boards, and you can see the saw marks. And we don't see that very often anymore. The folks from the Historic Preservation Office continue to give us guidance. They have an easement on the property, on the house. And should we ever give it up, it goes back to them, to the state. However, they don't have the funds nor the inclination to want to do anything with this. It would be shuttered, put a lock on the gate, and nobody would see anything. So we don't want that to happen. The electrical obviously was put in the 80s with the hope that, at that point, the hope that there might be a caretaker stay in the home, but that never came to fruition. We would sort of like to see the electric, it needs to be redone if it's gonna stay. If it's not gonna be put back into use, then we would like it out when we have a chance to review. We know we use this fireplace here. It is original, everything brick original. We use it. This mantle is a replica, but goes with the period. The only original mantle in the home is the one in the upstairs bedroom on that side. And it's for ethnicity or anything. Our history is worth telling. Yes. We have some very, very, very rich history of African American folks who lived here, who gave an incredible contribution to this region. And if we don't celebrate history, then we don't tell their story either. And I think Simon and Aunt Judy, their story is worth telling. Aunt Judy, as she was affectionately known by the family, died on this plantation when she was 100 and something. She had lived here most of her life.
110, they said.
And
that's in the newspaper, by
yes,
the way, so they reported on her. She was that much of value when women
indeed
of any color seldom got their name in the paper.
Indeed, and that was
they valued her as a person and
yeah,
spoke just highly.
She was so well respected among the community. Her husband was Simon. Simon grew up with the sons of Colonel Richardson and Mrs. Richardson. He was a slave, yes, so was Aunt Judy. But they had great autonomy where a lot of folks did not. And that has a lot to do with their level of respect in the family, and they were considered family members. Simon traveled the area. He traveled Southeast North Carolina preaching the gospel. Had permission to come and go as he pleased. To go and do and be on his own at a time when black men did not have that right. But he did. That was important. That's who these people were. Was every slave owner wonderful? Nope. We will not tell that lie. And were the Richardsons perfect? Nope. Can't say that they were because they're human. But what we do know is there are stories worth telling. So that's why we tell it. That's why I teach it. That's why these guys need to learn it. So that's why we need you guys to help us. So I'll step off the soapbox. Let's move. It's just too pretty to cover back up. And that's been that way for 50 years. We pay every year to have this house termite treated. This house and the Shaw cabin get estimates with lumber prices up, who knows. $100 to $200,000 would get us finished off.
On top of your other 100?
Yes, because we got to get the interior of that buttoned. But we've got 4 or 5 buildings out front that are part of our village that we use to tell the story of the county, and they all need work.
So can you kind of, could you sort of prioritize and list it? I mean,
Yes?